In this video blog, I'm going to be describing an app called Class Dojo. It is a free app for all Apple and Android devices. Before I go into the app, I do want to share what the website affiliated with the app says it is. According to their website, it's the easiest way for teachers to encourage students and share their best moments with parents. So in the end, that is the primary goal of the website. Now, in order to use the app, teachers first need to sign up. They can do it on the website that is affiliated with the app or on the app itself once they download it. Teachers are asked to put their email in and their school. Because they're putting in that school, they're able to connect with other teachers at that school who are using the app. For example, when I put my school in, Marshall Road Elementary School, I found out that a kindergarten teacher and a first grade teacher were using the app. So I was able to go and ask them and get some more information about how it was effective and how they used it in their classrooms. Once you get the app, you can play with a demo class and add and add feedback, take feedback, give positive feedback, give negative feedback, which is really neat. So you're not really harming any of your students, but you're getting to play around with it. And then once you do start your new class, you can plug in each individual student. You can add students and delete students if you do lose them throughout the year, as well as you can personalize the feedback. And this part I especially liked, and I felt that it was very useful for all teachers. The feedback can fall into two categories, so either positive or negative. Positive would be respectful, turning in assignments on time. I also added in some feedback of my own, including being a role model. I wanted the feedback that the parents were getting and the kids were getting to mirror the language that I'm using. So I said, be a role model, because that's an expectation in my class. In order for the needs improvement side of feedback, they also have ones like disrespectful, need to turn assignments in on time. One that I added, because this is something that I'm seeing in my classroom, and it's an expectation that I want them to follow, is having self-control. So the one I personalized was trouble with self-control, because I have a lot of kids that are very movable. They have trouble controlling their mouths, their bodies, etc. So I felt that was something that I really wanted there to communicate with parents. I made sure I use language that I'm using every day, that my students are hearing with me, and that they could have those conversations at home with their parents using that same language, so it's very consistent. Every single feedback has a point value, and they have a value of 1. Once the students get the feedback, the app keeps track of it. It creates like a circle graph for the parents in order for the parents to know what kind of feedback, if the ratio between the positive and the needs improvement, color coding, labeling. It's really easy. Once the day is over, the teacher's able to kind of just reset those points and give a clean slate to students. And those past points, though, are not completely erased. They are archived within the app so that you can always go back and access that feedback. And the parents are able to see this feedback each and every day. They are aware of it. It's instantaneous. So they can, and they just need to have it by having a smartphone. So once they download the app themselves, they're able to access that feedback and have those conversations with their kids when they come home from school. As a teacher with the app, I'm also able to see which parents have joined, and I'm able to message them myself, which is a really nice feature if I'm not available through my email, because I don't have email onto my phone, because I wanted to create that boundary. But it does give it just one more way to have that open communication with parents. Another activity that you can do on the app itself is you can view and favorite things on the class story page. It's kind of like a class Facebook wall where the parents can either like or review and favorite different activities that you can post. So for example, I posted like a magnets lesson that I was doing and just the centers that they were doing. You can also post reminders and messages on there for the parents in terms of field trips or like permission slips and such. So I really do think Class Dojo is a great app to use before, during, and after that school day. It really helps to create open communication and connection with those parents. It's instantaneous, and it's convenient for teachers. They have it on them because it's a personal device. It's on their phone, so it's easy to use, and it's convenient for the teacher, which is not a word you normally hear with teachers. I also found that it gives parents more of an active role. They can see what their child's doing with the pictures. They can hear how their child's doing with their feedback. So it really does give a more of an active role for those parents, and which will also help increase that motivation for the student. And it allows the parents to hear positives as well as negatives. I really want to point out this fact that it does help parents hear the positives. As a teacher, and I know personally as well as from my other coworkers, that it's really hard to share parents the positive feedback. But with this app, we're able to share with those parents almost instantaneously how their child's doing positively. And this is something that then they can celebrate at home and encourage. So this is something that I feel is really important, because for me it's usually something that gets lost with all the behaviors and all the other things I need to do on my plate. But this, because the app's so convenient, it's easy for me to go, oh my goodness, student A is being super responsible and a role model today. I need to let mom and dad know. And I just go, joop, and it clicks it, and it gives them the point value of 1, and it lets the parents know. So that's something that I really enjoy about it. So yeah, and another really great part of the app, I think it's a really positive effect, is the teacher can use it during not just classroom time, but during all parts of the day, like during transition times, which are really hard for students, and during lunch and specials, the times when students feel there's more freedom and less structure. This kind of helps to create that structure. Specialist teachers can use it, as well as administration, so that they can help keep that structure in place for those students and those expectations. Also through the app, I found that the manipulation of the feedback and being able to change it and mirroring my language was really important and a really positive side effect of this app. The kids can hear the language from me, they can see it on the app itself if they have mobile phones, and then they can have those conversations. And like I stated before, a little earlier, that consistency with the feedback I think is really important, because it becomes more subconscious, and the students are more aware, and that's really important for students in order if they want to make change and keep following those expectations. So that's just a couple of those really positive things. And it does, the obvious one is that it does make the parents aware of also negative behavior, so you can get more of a team effort between the parents and the teachers, and you guys could be working together to really make sure and readjust that student and have conversations with that student using that same language. As for students, I think there's some just positives just for the students. First, I think that it gives them a chance to see the consequence of their behavior. If they have a mobile phone and they're allowed to have it in the classroom, I think this is a great app for them to use, as well as the teacher, because the kids can see, oh, I misbehaved. Oh, -1. Oh, I got actually a consequence for that behavior. And it helps them to be just a bit more reflective on their behavior. And they can see the feedback, and it's very tangible. It's right there. And they also know that it's going home to mom and dad. So it's a bit more motivational. One other aspect of it that I found that wouldn't be really helpful for me, but you can take attendance on it. It is an app that if your school does not have an attendance system, that you can use it to take attendance and let parents know if they're there or not. So it is very, very convenient. It's a great app. I do see a few drawbacks, though, that I'd like to point out. First, the app could be seen as a distraction for either students or teachers. It might look like they're off task, not doing their job, etc. So they might be wrongly accused of not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So in order for this to avoid this kind of situation, I feel that's really important to set up those expectations between administration and teachers for themselves and then for their students as well, so that those kind of thoughts are not going to be assumed when they first see teachers and or students on their phones. Secondly, it opens 24/7 communication between teachers and parents. And this could be really overwhelming and draining for teachers because there is so many other burdens that we have. And so it's really important that teachers set up those clear boundaries. We don't want parents to start assuming that they have a right to hear back from the teacher, knowing the teacher is getting this feedback on their phone, because that's not fair for the teacher as well. So that can easily be avoided by having teachers really set up those clear boundaries, yet again, just like with our administration, in order to understand, okay, I will contact you back by this time. If not, we'll wait till the next day, just to create that personal and professional space. Also, I do want to point out, just like with any other behavior system, it's not going to work for all students. Currently, I'm also using Responsive Classroom. It's not working for all of my students, and so I have a couple of other systems in place and strategies to help those remaining students just help manage their behavior and help them get on the right track. So it is something to be thinking about with this too, that it's not going to work for all. So there needs to be other things in place. Lastly, I think parent involvement is really important. If they're not involved, then it's going to be less likely that the kid is going to be successful using this app, as well as just its success in general. Parents need to have the app, they need to use it, and they need to believe in it. So it really is important for teachers to educate their parents on this app and the uses of it and why we're using it, the purpose behind it. On the website, if you go back to that affiliated website, they do give you a PowerPoint that you can use that is very simple yet easy and effective, that describes the app and its purpose, that you could either use for back to school night or on your classroom website or something. It is super amazing because it's just clear and concise yet informative for parents, and they can really understand it and then start using it and get excited about it. Overall, I think this app's a great tool. I believe that it should be used in the classroom. It helps open communication between parents and teachers. It creates an accountability with students. There is allowed for flexibility in terms of adding and subtracting students, as well as feedback, and personalizing that feedback to fit the classroom and fit the classroom language and teacher language to help create that consistency. It's easy to use. It's convenient. Overall, I think it's an app that every teacher should be using, specialists and general education. And if you're a teacher, you should totally get it.